Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a truly packed chapter of the Bible, Mark chapter 8. It's a journey of miracles, misunderstandings, and a massive revelation that changes everything. So, grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's explore this together. The chapter kicks off with another huge crowd following Jesus. They've been with him for 3 days straight, and now they're out of food. Jesus, filled with compassion, turns to his disciples and says, I feel for these people. If I send them home hungry, they might collapse on the way. Now, you'd think the disciples, having seen the feeding of the 5,000, would be like, no problem, Jesus, you got this. But instead, they ask, where can we possibly find enough food for all these people out here in the middle of nowhere? It's such a human moment, isn't it? How quickly we forget God's past miracles when a new problem arises. Jesus simply asks, how much bread do you have? They answer, 7 loaves. He takes those 7 loaves and a few small fish, gives thanks, and starts distributing them. And guess what? All 4,000 people ate until they were completely full. And it wasn't just enough, there was an abundance. The disciples collected 7 large baskets of leftovers. This wasn't just about feeding hungry stomachs. It was another powerful lesson about God's limitless provision. Right after this incredible display, Jesus and his disciples head to a new district. And immediately, some Pharisees show up. They're not there to learn, they're there to test him. They demand a sign from heaven to prove his authority. Jesus lets out a deep sigh. He's just fed 4,000 people with almost nothing, but they want a different kind of sign, a spectacular show. Jesus refuses, saying that no such sign will be given to that generation. They're looking for proof, but their hearts are closed. As they get back in the boat, the disciples realize they forgot to bring bread. They only have 1 loaf. It's then that Jesus gives them a cryptic warning, be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees and the yeast of Herod. The disciples, completely missing the point, start worrying amongst themselves, thinking Jesus is scolding them about the bread. Jesus, knowing their thoughts, calls them out. He asks, why are you still talking about having no bread? Do you still not get it? Are your hearts that hard? You have eyes, but you can't see. You have ears, but you can't hear. He reminds them of the 12 baskets left over from the 5,000 and the 7 from the 4,000. He's trying to shift their focus from physical bread to spiritual truth. The yeast of the Pharisees was their rigid, self-righteous legalism, and the yeast of Herod was their worldly, political power-seeking. Jesus was warning them against these corrupting influences. Their journey continues to Bethsaida, where a blind man is brought to Jesus. In a fascinating 2-step healing, Jesus leads the man out of the village, puts saliva on his eyes, and lays his hands on him. He asks, can you see anything? The man replies, I see people, but they look like walking trees. His vision is partial. So Jesus lays his hands on him a second time. This time, the man's sight is fully restored, and he sees everything clearly. This gradual healing is a beautiful picture of our own spiritual journey. Sometimes, understanding doesn't come all at once. It comes in stages as we walk with Jesus. Now we arrive at the absolute climax of the chapter. On the road to Caesarea Philippi, Jesus asks his disciples a pivotal question. Who do people say that I am? They give the popular opinions. Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, or one of the prophets. Then Jesus looks them straight in the eyes and asks the most important question they will ever answer. But what about you? Who do you say I am? Simon Peter, speaking for the group, declares, you are the Messiah. This is it. The big reveal. They finally see him for who he truly is. But as soon as they grasp his identity, Jesus starts to explain what being the Messiah really means. It's not about political power or earthly glory. He tells them he must suffer, be rejected, be killed, and then, after 3 days, rise again. This was not the Messiah they were expecting. Peter is so shocked that he pulls Jesus aside and starts to rebuke him. But Jesus turns on him sharply, saying, get behind me, Satan. You are not thinking about God's concerns, but human concerns. Peter's vision was still limited to an earthly kingdom, not God's divine, sacrificial plan. Finally, Jesus calls the crowd and his disciples together and lays down the cost of following him. He says, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. He explains that trying to save your life your own way will lead to losing it, but losing your life for his sake and for the gospel is how you truly find it. What good is it to gain the whole world but forfeit your soul? What a powerful, challenging chapter. From feeding thousands to demanding we pick up our cross, Mark 8 calls us to see Jesus for who he truly is and to follow him, no matter the cost. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.